Okay, this is going to be my final wrap up on the Heathkit SB-200, two 572B tubes. Those 572Bs have 160 watts dissipation each. So this amp has a total of 320 watts dissipation. So it's not going to be a big baller, big hammer. And I always say that the peak watts you should expect to get out of an amplifier is about twice the plate dissipation. So 320 watts dissipation times 2 is 640 watts. So basically that's peak. This is basically a 500 watt give or take amplifier. A lot of people hit them hard and drive their stuff crazy and overdrive them, and sure, grounded grid, you overdrive it, you get the watts that feed through from the input to the output. However, I never hit my stuff like that. I like my stuff to last. I don't like to blow up stuff, abuse it. Plus the harmonics and the noise created by overdriving it and all that, that's just not me. So anyway, this one was my former Ugly Betty. I'm going to call her my almost beautiful, my black beautiful Swan here. It's amazing what a little bit of Ozempic, a little bit of a new face. We bought this black face off eBay. And it just covered up the old ugly face on her. So Ugly Betty got a new face. She got a facelift, and the cover was all messed up and scratched up. And we did a little bit of sanding, and then just gave her some spray paint. I'm not really into super duper making stuff look mint. That's not my thing. I'll do some cleaning and some painting and all that a little bit. Not very much. That's not me. However, with a little bit of work, a little bit of elbow grease, we think she came out good, especially if you would have saw what she looked out like before we started messing with Ugly Betty. But Ugly Betty ain't so ugly no more. We'll take her. One thing about it though, I got it more like a parts donor or you fix, one of those guys, as he is what he is. And everything worked except the Bandswitch was blew up and tore up. That's one of the pieces that was out the Bandswitch. I always talk about Heathkits being economical amps, and that was part of the Bandswitch that was in it. It was all tore up, blew up. So we monobanded it, just got rid of the Bandswitch. So Ugly Betty is 10 meters only with the amp. But one thing about the band switches, this switch is, just not rated for RF, these band switches. It needs to be a lot heavier contacts and have a lot more meat to be RF rated. RF runs on the edge of the metals of what it's going through, and there's just not a lot of contact there. So RF doesn't like that. Another little tidbit, if you turn or move the band switch while you're transmitting, you've ruined it. It's done. Cancel Christmas. Never ever turn the band switch while you're transmitting. Don't do that. People ask me about tuning an amplifier all the time, and I don't speak out on it a lot because tuning low to max. And here, the band switch is no more. So that's just a fake knob over the band. But for tuning an amplifier, make sure you're on the right band before you power it up and turn it on and all that. And since we're doing this test actually on 11 meters for testing and research educational purposes only, we're not broadcasting. We do everything on a dummy load just for research, testing, educational stuff, right? That's my disclaimer again. But anyway, make sure you're on the right band first of all, and then if it's a ham amplifier, most ham amplifiers have the tune cap at least marked, with the band markings on them. Hence 10 meters, 15 meters, 20, 40, and 80. So if you got an unknown amplifier, but it's a ham band amplifier, and it's marked like this one is on the tune or the load or whatever, but if it's marked like this one on the tune and you know, 10 meters, then you would start with your pointer, if you can see that pointer there, at around 10 meters if you're on 10 meters. Obviously, if I was going to go to 80 meters, I would turn my pointer over here to start at, right? If you are on 11 meters, which is, by the way, illegal to use a linear amplifier on 11 meters, but again, with my disclaimer for research educational purposes, if you're on 11 meters, start out with your tune pointed to around 11 meters. That's where you want to start at, right? The load is kind of all over the place, so if you don't have a marking or don't know, you know, what's up, what's down, and what's happening with the load, start in the middle. And that's a good place to start. So your tune, you start with it marked at the appropriate band marker you are at, and the load or the unknown, you start in the middle, and that's appropriate way to start before you even, you know, get into an amplifier. Make sure your band switch is on. If an amplifier has a higher low side, put it on low to start it up, because less pressure on the tubes. Doing it on a lower voltage or a higher bias, the tubes aren't at full power, so that's what you want when you're doing your tunings. It's easier on the tubes to not be at full power. So if your amplifier has a low, or if it has a power adjustment, you want to turn the power adjustment down. And if not, if you have a radio or your driver, whatever you're using for that, if it has a variable where you can turn the power down on your driver, you want to turn the power down. You don't want to run full power into an amplifier unless you have to. And in tuning, you want to tune up as quickly as you can. Hopefully this one's set, so I'm not going to mess with it, but as you can see, that tune knob is tuning around 11 meters, and that tuned up about there. When you're tuning, again, you want to tune as fast as you can on the low side with low drive, and then once you get it tuned, you know, with the low power, you can up the power, you know, put it on high, retune it as you go, up in the power until you're at, you know, max power. Always tune for maximum output. You're tuning the load. Always tune for maximum. I'm not going to talk about overcoupling because that's beyond the scope of what I want to get to, so we're not going to bring that up here. We're trying to keep it simple, but tune for maximum watts out. If you don't have a watt meter, don't do it. But again, on this one, it's got a relative watt meter, so you could use that one. We got it on now, warming up. 572Bs don't take a long time to warm up. You can see the high voltage, the meter's on high voltage. We're running about 2100 volts. That's a lot of volts. These things can kill you if you don't know what you're doing. Don't mess with it. It does have the multimeter. You can put it on relative power, and that will adjust the relative power. And for your SWR set, with the relative power on that, it will read SWR on this meter with this amp, your plate current and your grid current with this meter. But anyway, Ugly Betty ought to be all warmed up. I think she came out real good. We like Ugly Betty. We can't call her ugly no more. She done took the Ozempic, you know, got a facelift and all that. And Ugly Betty pretty tight now. We'd hit it. So anyway, we got it hooked to a foot switch because Heathkit's the key-in relay runs on high voltage, 110 volts DC. So we don't want to hook 110 volts into our, you know, nice ICOM radio over there, which what we're using. We don't want to take a chance and have that 110 volts get into that radio. So we're doing it directly on a foot switch. When you're running an amplifier, key the foot switch first. And if you got your high voltage, it should drop a little bit like that. Not much, but it should drop a little bit when it goes into operation. Also, put it on plate current. It should be 0 when it's standing by. And then when you hit your foot switch or put it into operation, even with no dry, the plate current should go up a little bit like that. That's all good. That's what you want to see, right? So put it back on high voltage, and we're going to key the amp first with the foot switch, then key the mic. And we are on sideband going in. That's the watts going in. So we got about, talking about, shh, hello, 65 watts going in. Maybe whistling to about 70, 75 going into it, and then here going out into a dummy load on average. Audio talking about 475. Hello, shh, audio whistling to about 575. And if you want longevity, you want the tubes to last, you want the amp to last, that's all you want to get out of a 2-tube 572B amplifier. If it was a 4-tuber, you would expect twice that, maybe around the 1200 watt area. You can see my high voltage dropping when we're talking and modulating, putting power to the amplifier. All normal. Gotta unkey the mic because we only got 2 hands, and turn that over to the plate current. Again, we got the amp keyed with the foot switch. And then audio. That's the plate current. Audio. My eyes deceiving me. What's that, about 200 milliamps? But anyway, pretty good plate current, because 60, 70 watts dry. That's about all you want to drive this thing with. And about 500 out. Audio. Tubes get a little bit warm. That's all you want to do with a 2-tube 572B amplifier. Hello. Oh, you can do the grid. Grid current, audio, very low. Not driving it too hard, but decent drive. Everything doing what it's supposed to do. The ugly Betty ain't so ugly no more. 10 meter only though. Monobanded. 572B linear amplifier. Okay, that's it for Ugly Betty. Bye.